So, welcome to these Madaxeman battle reports of the Beachhead competition held in Bournemouth earlier this year at the beginning of 2025 at the Beachhead show. And this rather strange graphic that you're looking at here is clearly, of course, the output of AI. The theme of the event for both 15 and 25mm was that armies had to include either war wagons, elephants or camels, or some sort of combination of the two, and have at least two of these in the army. So this is a camel, an elephant, and well, it looks, I suppose it could be a war wagon. It's got shields, it's got soldiers in it, but it also looks a bit like a sort of bathing wagon from the Victorian era by a Victorian era pier on the British seaside. So AI prompts has actually generated something slightly bizarre, but also reasonably relevant to sum up. And this was the image that ended up being used on Facebook for the Facebook event for the competition. But you know, my army, of course, had to choose two of these. I was in the 28mm competition, and that's it. That's the actual list. You must have at least 2 units of wagons, elephants, or non-light camelry, and then otherwise the Master of Rock would tell you you're wrong. That was Beachhead. So this was the theory for me. I really wanted to get these two, a couple of elephants. These are the Victrix 28mm plastic kit elephants that are on table, and you may have seen them on my blog. I've built them with using magnets to hold the shields on and magnets to hold the little crew inside, so I can lift these two Greek guys in this case out and these Greek shields off and use them for slightly different nationalities, for Romans and for Numidians. But this one, they were going to be Greeks. It was trying to get a successor army on table, probably one that I'd not used before, and that would have two of these elephants in. And the other bit is these Thracians. This is as close as I get to kit bashing, really. These guys are mostly different bits of Victrix kit. So I think it's the Victrix Greek light infantry bodies. You can see there with sort of this cloaky thing. Some of their heads, some of also the Dacian heads as well. The cloaks there are from the Dacian kit. You get quite a few of those in it. And these, if you look carefully, these kind of crazy Thracian Romphia type things, what you've actually got here is a guy who was holding a sword. I've snipped it off here, just at the top of the hand and the bottom of the hand as well. They're plastic kits, so you can glue them. And this is the blade of a very long sword that comes with, I'm pretty sure it's not Victrix, it was the Fireforge Mongol cavalry or Arab cavalry that set. They have some huge great swords. So I sort of snipped the hand off the sword and stuck that on there. And then this is a piece of a spear, I think, from the Gripping Beast Roman kit. It's just a thing that's just glued on the bottom. So this guy as well, you can see, and that guy, it kind of looks like they're holding a sort of Romphia-esque type thing at a balancing point. And then some of the Thracian shields that come with the light infantry. So I wanted to get some of these guys on table as well, which really takes you to the Lysimachid at Ipsos pseudo-allied army, early successor Lysimachid, and pretty simple. It's very similar to the army that I'd used at Plymouth. Just slight difference. The main thing was I've now painted up 3 phalangites. So there's 4 phalanx there, there's 5 there, and there's another 6 there. The 2 elite ones being pretty cool. And painting up and making 28mm phalanxes is a real pain, and I wanted to get all 6 on table as quickly as I could. So you've really got 2 well commanded strategies to control the terrain, big commands here that are really 3-4 phalanx there, that one, a javelinman because I knew there'd be elephants around, some light troops to screen the phalanx, and a heavy spearman just to widen them. So that's a 5 wide block of stuff with that behind it. Here you've got 2 elephants, 2 Thracians, so you can make that into a Death Star, or you can stick the elephants together. You can stick the elephants with the phalanx. You've got 2 phalangites there to give it up to 6 width as well. Another javelinman, so that's a width of 5 really. That's a width of 6. You've got 11 wide plus 2 javelinmen, and then the faffing around kind of extra point of the spear command, which is the 2 heavy cavalry impact elite with the general included in them, and a light cavalry just to faff around. Gives you a great initiative of 4 to go first. that hopefully you can ram that kind of block of 6 and this block of 6, 12 wide, down someone's throat, and you're all over them before anything can really be sorted out. And it gets a lot of those troops on table as well. So let's have a look. What did I fight first? I fought some Carthaginians. These are old school 15mm6 ones. But here is a huge Carthaginian army that I'm facing. You can see the pike command over on one side. I didn't really know what would be about. I was expecting possibly a load of medium foot, so I dropped these two in the middle. And then I've got my elephant command with a couple of pike and the Thracians here. That went up against the two elephants, the mediocre elephants in the Carthaginian army, some of their cavalry. I think these are elite or good quality impact Spanish. They'd gone for all of the heavy infantry Galatians in the middle, so that's not a bad matchup here. They can either fight them or avoid them. This is where the spearmen are. Clearly I want to kind of advance forward and crush the spearmen with pikemen. Not much cavalry on the end. That should be okay for me to overlap that. There's a third elephant there as well, which is a little bit scary, but busy job for him. So this looks a bit scary. That I should be able to beat this bit in the middle. I've just got to keep them really out of the game. So let's have a look at that army in detail. The impact Spanish gives them a lot more control than if they're impetuous. A lot of light foot there, cavalry and a javelin, just a sort of outrider of the two crap elephants. A general with 5 impetuous Gauls in the middle, and then another elephant, 5 spear. Sorry, they should be heavy infantry, not light horse spear. That's not a thing. Heavy infantry spearmen. So a spear command with an elephant as well, opposite my pike command. So what happens straight up? The Xystophorii in the middle. They really don't want to fight those Galatians. There is a bit of an opportunity here. They race decent pips all the way along the back of my line, redeploy out to a wing, which is kind of a sort of Macedonian-y successory type thing to do, which is good. And it also means you get a good view of the backgrounds of the pikemen. These are the two that I use as kind of mercenary. They're all a bit more random than the other ones. Over on this side, I'm pushing the pikemen towards this bit, which looks a bit dangerous, and I think, sod it, let's get the elephants into the Galatians. The elephants will do some mess to those Galatians, neutralise a lot of their good points, leaves these guys a bit out on their own. They're going to go down eventually to that. Can the elephants race into the middle? So over here, big solid Carthaginian advance. The spearmen hanging back a bit because they're not as good as the pikemen, I guess. I've inserted these guys into the line, use the spearmen as well to drive this away, so hopefully create some opportunity to run around the end of the spears. The Galatians just going for it, and my elephants have kind of raced across a bit, but they've got a lot of space to cover there, and this thing is just moving forwards very quickly to just my 2 pikemen over there. And what's happening here, the Galatians have just said sod it, they're in. They're fighting the elephants, they're fighting the Thracians. Elephants and Thracians here. Their elephant is kind of in play, or one of the elephants from over this side is play. Their cavalry have evaded, and it looks like the Spanish have already got into my pikemen as well. So there's just a real rush down the middle to force that huge gap that I've kind of left slightly undefended, apart from the elephants. And Bosch, what was actually there fighting the pikemen? Nothing yet. Possibly that elephant might have gone in. No, he's still waiting to go. So you can see my army isn't wide enough on this table to butt itself up against a bit of terrain, possibly because I've never deployed it on table before this game started, and I've now found that out. So there's a lot of trouble. This thing is in a world of pain here with elephants and other things going to it. This is going to get rolled up pretty quickly. There's even light infantry going to bully my javelinmen and light infantry in that bit of terrain over there. So the battle's been joined. That gap, I think, was a gap I've left. This looks like one of my pikemen from over on the other side, has come in and is being assisted by my javelinman. My javelinman hasn't really got a role here. Looks like the elephant has actually done away with some of these Galatians, and this Galatian's in severe trouble as well. So the elephants are doing their job of punching through, but you can see here my pikeman is starting to pick up hits. The Thracians are starting to pick up hits. The elephants are into them. It's just a real tussle here over on this right-hand wing. Whereas on the other side, where I really need to get into these guys early to let the grinding nature of the pike win over, that's not really working. They're holding back a bit, and my pikemen are sort of facing an elephant, which is not ideal. I've only got then 2 pikemen to fight the spearmen. These 3 spearmen can sort of neutralise these guys. They've inched across, closed this gap around the train. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to squeeze past, really. So this is a bit of the combat. I really wanted to start earlier and start over here, whilst these guys were still further into the centre. In the middle, we're getting a bit of a mess really. The elephants have obviously pushed through some of the Galatians, but that's exposed their flank. My pikemen are really struggling against the mediocre elephant of the Carthaginians. A bit paler than mine. Obviously, there's not as much sun in North Africa as there is wherever the successors keep their elephants, and their cavalry are kind of screaming back as well. That's in a lot of trouble. That's got a couple of hits on it. That's got 3 hits. So my pikemen are really struggling and going down to these impact Spanish with the combination of the elephants. And boom, suddenly big hole in the middle. The Galatians have gone through, or the Gauls have gone through as well with their very tidy shields. And looks like there's some sort of trouble here. That pikeman I may have peeled off has disappeared. And I'm pretty sure, no, I didn't used to have an elephant there, but my javelinman's got a lot to do here as well. There's risk of these pikemen being overlapped. That elephant has come out from the end of the line to join in this attack here, pulling my pikemen even further to the right. And over here, you're seeing sort of this melee over on the right-hand side really start to swirl and develop. Elephants are in, my elephant's trying to deal with it, but look, 2 hits there on an elephant, 3 hits on a pike, 2 hits on a pike, 1 hit on my javelinman. He's not even doing the business against a mediocre elephant. This is all going sort of rather wrong. This elephant's a little bit isolated, isn't really in the game. So he tries to join in, tries to see if we can overwhelm these guys before they do it, but that does leave that Thracian in a lot of trouble. That's 2 hits there as well. So it's just a swirling mass of medium foot elephants, near identical elephants all going into each other, and these Galatians are just grinding down my rather empty gap, and then boom, that's quite a lot of stuff missing. You can see there's 2 pikemen missing, there's a javelinman missing, there's an elephant missing. Suddenly the tables have turned, and this command here, there's a couple of elephants, 3 of these guys, 2 of which are still around. The cavalry have come back into it. Suddenly my entire right flank has collapsed. The general's looking slightly startled. He's been left with a slinger to command, which isn't really what he planned to do. And that's going to put a huge dent in the credibility and the survivability of my army, as really these impact foot and this sheer number of elephants has done for my pikemen, who, they were just trying to cover too much really. 2 pikemen, 2 elephants, 2 Thracians to cover really the centre and the right wing. And they've got engaged very quickly, and they've been beaten before this combat's really started. And you can see my pikemen now going in, getting into these guys, but this is a grind, and to stop me being overlapped on that side, and because I've lost a lot over on the other wing, I've decided to go for hell for leather, throw it all in, try and commit the Zeistaphorai as well. Very unlikely they'll beat spearmen, but it's possible, and if they do, it's kind of spectacular. And they've got to go in to support these pikemen as well and support the spearmen. I've reorganized slightly by the looks of it, so this push of pike, this combat's going in, they're having a fight. Let's see what's happening. My elephant is still doing the business almost, but it's real desperation strokes, and I've chucked the general in. I think he's actually the strategist. This must have been like the last throw of the dice. If this loses, the game was over. So I've chucked him in, and a 1 is not really the score you want. So that's pretty much pudding paid for the army. You can see I've got through somewhere. I've brought one of those Zeistaphorai back. This elephant's clearly going for my baggage, supported here. I'm trying to stop him in light infantry. Got some hits, but it's not quite working. It's not quite enough. Boom. Yeah, he might be stuck there. Let's see, where's he gone? Yeah, so the Galatian just sort of pushes forward and races towards the baggage, chases my javelinman away as well. Very little I can really do now. The elephant's going to turn once he beats these guys as well, but it's just this huge swathe of the table with very little on it, and that's kind of the end of it. And we're next up against, as you can see, a little taste of a medieval army.